Hello and welcome. Another episode of Bunker to Bunker. We are coming off a 75-1 ticket outright winner with Jonathan Vegas at the 3M Open. He tried to make it a little sweaty at the end. He had a 3-shot lead, then kind of blew it, but he made birdie on 18 to clinch that victory. He hasn't won in a while, so congrats to Jonathan Vegas on that win. But this episode is primarily going to be about the Olympics. The Olympics in Paris, Team USA beat Serbia in basketball. I've been watching water polo, tennis, Nadal, Carlos Alcaraz. Been watching swimming, gymnastics, some surfing today with people over. So it's been fun to watch the Olympics, and it's time to preview Olympic golf. So kind of the structure of this episode, going to go through some of the Olympic golf history, very brief, go through the course, some of the rules and the fields, what I'm looking for in players, some storylines I think are interesting with a lot of stuff happening today in the world of golf, and then kind of go through a couple players that I like. Obviously, I'll go into more detail on Twitter with the more research I do. I'm recording this at 9:50 Sunday night, so I've done some research to prep for this podcast episode, but we'll deep dive throughout the week, and I'll post that all on Twitter, as I said, and stuff, so it should be a good week. But some history about Olympics, especially in the golf world, is that this is going to be the 5th time golf has been an Olympic sport. The first year was 1900 and 1904, the first 2 years, and then they just disbanded golf, took it away, and it came back famously in 2016 in Rio with Justin Rose winning gold, Henrik Stenson silver, and Matt Kuchar with bronze. And then in Tokyo, which was COVID, Xander Schauffele won gold. Rory Sabatini, crazy, won silver, and bronze was Pan Cheng Sung. Sorry if I mispronounced that. Not the best at pronouncing, as you can probably tell. Definitely a weird trajectory of Olympic golf for not being on for 100 plus years, and then in 2016 in Rio. So I think it's really cool. You have a ton of big names for Team USA. You have Scottie Scheffler, Xander Schauffele, Wyndham Clark, and Collin Morikawa are the 4 representing Team USA. You also have Rory, Shane Lowry, Fleetwood, Fitzpatrick, Obear, Hovland, Jason Day, Minwoo Lee, Thomas Dietrich, Alex Noren, a bunch of familiar faces on the PGA Tour, and Live Golf, Jon Rahm will also be in the field, Joaquin Niemann from Live, so you have a very limited field. It's a 60-man field, so a very smaller tournament, which, every player, especially on Live Golf, and also the PGA Tour with all these signature events being no cut, are used to these smaller events. It's similar to, the majors and PGA Tour with a 4-day starting next Thursday and then concluding on Sunday of this week. 4-day, 72-hole tournament. The women's go on the following week at the same course. I'm really excited because, if they had some sort of team element to golf, I think it would be better. I mean, it's obviously very similar to tennis where you're in like a bracket and you might go up against someone from your own country. There's a chance that Rafael Nadal can play Carlos Alcaraz in singles, but then they're playing doubles together. So I think if you want me to nitpick team golf, playing for your country, I think if they had some sort of best ball team aspect to it, I think that would be pretty cool. I mean, you have like a week to play this tournament, maybe do some match play. I think that would be pretty cool. We got that taken away on the PGA Tour, and I think having this would be pretty cool. I think, you really see the emotion of players at the President's Cup and the Ryder Cup because it's team and you're playing for your country and for pride and other reasons. I think hopefully at some point, maybe in the future, maybe for 2028, 2032, can figure that out. But for now, it's a regular setup, 4 days, 72 holes, no cut. A lot of top players here, limited fields. So that's kind of the rules of the fields. Let's get into the course. I'll go briefly into the course. So the course we're playing is Le Golf National, Albatross. It is formerly the host of the Open de France on the DP World Tour. For some players in this field, it's a very familiar course. We also saw this course in 2018 at the Ryder Cup, where Team Europe gave a pretty good spanking to Team USA. There's no really other way to sugarcoat it. It's a par 71, around 7,100 yards, 7,200 yards. Definitely going to be an interesting track this week. The course is very tough. And what's kind of famous about this course in 2018 at the Ryder Cup was Thomas Bjorn did not want like a first cut. He wanted fairway and then go to like 3.5-inch rough. So no first cut. However, the true style of Le Golf National is having a 2.5-inch first cut, 3.5-inch rough. So those are kind of like the changes. They also had some changes. I think they took out a bunker on a hole or two, but the course has a ton of water that comes into play too on like 10 holes. So definitely interesting that the Olympic Golf Committee people at Le Golf National really wanted to emphasize that the rough is going back to its true form than from 2018. That's something to note when you're reading your research. Don't take too much probably from the Ryder Cup in 2018 with the rough and stuff, but obviously the course will play very similar. So for players in the field, I kind of want to say who has won the Open de France. Tommy Fleetwood won in 2017. Alex Noren won in 2018. Guido won in 2022. And to really note, Tommy Fleetwood went 4-1 in 2018 at the 2018 Ryder Cup. Alex Noren went 2-1 in the 2018 Ryder Cup. So to kind of go over some player profiles, when I think of Tommy Fleetwood and Alex Noren, I think of driving accuracy over distance, good ball striking, kind of having that overall game, good short game, putting, both play well in very tough courses. The average course score is around 10 under at the French Open, so it's going to be a tough course. You're going to have to, be tough on this track. Hard greens, very complex green complexes, and with water coming into play on 10 holes, it could be really, interesting too. What I also read from a lot of people is that it's a pretty tough stretch on the back nine, so I think we'll just dive in briefly to the course, what you're looking at of players. It seems like it's going to be a similar tough major championship type course. I think that kind of gets me really excited, and I think it's really a course that will get the best out of the players. So that was kind of a quick, brief, as I said, course history, course stats, kind of what I'm looking for in players. So let's get into kind of some of the storylines I wanted to talk about that, kind of came up today. I think the biggest storyline, you can correct me if I'm wrong or comment, but I think I'm really interested to see what Xander does this week. For many reasons. He's having his breakout year that everyone has been waiting for. He has dusted off the narrative that he can't close a big tournament. He's won the PGA Championship at Valhalla and the Open Championship at Royal Troons. 2 big wins, 2 of the biggest wins of his career. He also won the gold medal in 2022. Not only is Xander the top of the golf world right now with the Claret Jug, he's also the defending champion. And, Xander's a great player. He fits well at every course. So I don't have to go into that. But if there's a tournament that he's going to overlook, he kind of is at an all-time high right now. Is he really going to get up for the Olympics? He says how much this means to him, but he has a lot of distractions and stuff. He's worrying about the course, drinking wine out of the Claret Jug with his dad, Stefan. So I think he's the number one storyline to kind of see how he plays this week. I also think the theatrics, if you want to call it, on Live Golf. They had one of their final tournaments this week, and Jon Rahm beat his teammate Tyrrell Hatton. They both kind of missed short putts in it. Jon Rahm avoided going to a playoff with Hatton, and he won. And the team won, too, the event. But I think Rahm has been... I've been talking about him on this pod forever, but his body language in the first 3 majors has been piss poor. He's played well on Live, but how much you take into account those stats? I talked about with Andy Lack, for the preview of the British Open, and we kind of talked about, like, Andy has said this before, and props to him. He's like, is Rahm really not going to be a factor in any of the 4 majors of how good he is? And Rahm definitely was a factor. I mean, he played well. He made that charge on either Saturday or Sunday pretty early. I think it was Sunday too. And then he kind of fell off, and then he went on Live. And I think he really has something to prove. I think he's hearing a lot of the media and us, the noise that, is he cooked? Is he not playing well? Does he want to go back to the PGA Tour? Does he regret taking the $400 million or whatever he got? So I think we could see a different Jon Rahm out for vengeance, trying to prove people wrong. And I think, Rahm plays well. He's a major champion, 2-time major champions. I think he's someone that I'm going to keep an eye on and kind of hear what people are saying and kind of make sure I keep an eye out for Jon Rahm this week. So I kind of wrote about 3 players specifically. I want to keep this more brief because I want to take more time to do research. I have 3 players. I penciled in one of them for a while. So this is more of a fun bet, and someone following me on Twitter recently, Scottie Scheffler is plus 330 to win Olympic gold, and I really think he's going to get it done. When you're talking about being an elite driver, being long and straight, that's Scottie. Elite long iron player. He plays well on obviously tough courses with thick rough, hard greens, and he's won at Memorial, the Masters, the Players, API. They're very similar courses where accuracy, elite ball striking on hard greens, that's Scottie Scheffler's course. I don't know if it's like the perfect fit. We can deep dive that later, but I just think he's also being kind of overlooked with Xander Schauffele taking the world by storm, and Rory still battling that 3 putts. I think Scottie's really interesting, and he gained 11 strokes from approach at the Open Championship. That's just nuts. His caddy Tess Scott, they're the mecca right now in golf of player to caddy relationship. Guy's the best player, Tess Scott's the best caddy. It's kind of unfair. It's kind of like Kobe and Phil Jackson or Michael Jordan, and Phil Jackson is having the best coach and also having like the best player too. It's just not fair. And Tess Scott used to caddy for Bubba Watson, and Bubba Watson was on that 2018 Team USA Ryder Cup team that didn't play well. So Ted knows this course. He's not, he's not seen this course every year, but he does have experience on this course. I think if you have someone where that Ted Scott has been at least once or twice, potentially, other caddies that aren't going out of their way to scout the Olympic course over other major courses throughout the year, that's a huge advantage for Scottie. To be comfortable to have, for Ted Scott to give Scottie that confidence. So I think that's a narrative, and I think that's something that's really important that not a lot of people really take into account. Obviously, the concern is his putter. He lost 6 strokes at the U.S. Open putting. You can give him a pass there for Pinehurst greens. He recently lost 3 strokes on the greens at Royal Troon. You can argue if he doesn't lose those 3 strokes, he probably is going to win the Open. It's the same narrative with Scottie. If he can figure out that putter, the ball striking is the best we've seen in a while, he's probably going to win. And I don't know if I'll get to the plus 330. Scottie burned me at the U.S. Open, but I think the more I'm going to deep dive in this course, like anyone, I think Scottie is just going to win. I think he's going to improve himself now that Xander is getting all this love, having 2 majors. He only has a Masters win, but he has 5 other signature event wins with the Players, API, Memorial, Travelers, you name it. So I think Scotty's going to be really interesting this week. I would say this guy I have penciled in for a while now. I think it's more of my heart pick, but I think Tom Kim sets up very well too. He also kind of burned me at the Open Championship. I really loved him. He kind of had the bad weather draw, so let's give him a pass there. But he actually played here in 2023. He finished T6 at the Open de France. He's been playing great golf the last 2 months. Been one of the better ball strikers on tour. He's 12th in driving accuracy. And what I've heard from people on the grounds that Tom Kim has been prepping for a while that this is the tournament for him to win or just to place top 3 to get either gold, silver, or bronze, because in South Korea you can be exempt from doing military service until you're 30 if you place or get a medal in the Olympics or other. So he's been prepping, he's been playing a ton, he's played a lot of smaller tournaments on the PGA Tour. So I think this is his Super Bowl for this year to place, to win a medal for his country. Love the Paul, the story, Tom Kim. I think they work great together. They talk things out. Paul has been one of the better caddies on tour for a while. He actually recently followed me on Twitter, so hopefully we can reach out to Paul and have him on the pod. So I think with his form leading in, very accurate off the tee, great ball striker, short game. I think if the pressure doesn't get to him to place top 3, I think this is a Tom Kim to be on that podium on Sunday. And my last pick, they're very similar names to what people liked at the Open Championship. Kind of very similar skill sets, but I don't know if this guy is going to win gold. He's shown that he's finished top 30 8 straight times on tour, has played great in all these majors, but hasn't really contended. But Corey Connors sets up perfectly for his course. Again, very accurate off the tee. He's 4th on tour in strokes gained from approach, so elite ball striker. So I think he sets up, keep riding Corey Connors, been placing a lot of bets on him recently in the finishing position market. So I think he's a good pick to finish like top 10, top 5. I don't know if he can win this golf tournament, but he's an elite ball striker with high missed fairway penalty here. With water coming into play on 10 holes, I think Connors being accurate, great ball striker is really going to help him this week. So that was a really quick preview. I wanted to put something out to stay consistent with putting out Monday pods, so I'm really excited for this week. But make sure to follow me at Josh_Siegel8 on Twitter to kind of get my love-hate. Will come out Tuesday, Sleepers Wednesday. I'll write some course notes and kind of other thoughts I'm thinking about heading into Thursday. But this is going to be a fun week. Maybe not much sleep. I do want to get up before I start work to watch some of this golf. I think starts at 3 a.m. I forget what the tee times are, but it's going to be a very interesting week. It's going to be fun, especially that because you're playing for silver and bronze, like there could potentially be a playoff with a lot of players, which I believe happened. I think the Xander year in 2020, there was a playoff maybe with Sabatini. I could be wrong there. Yeah, everyone enjoy the week. Make sure to follow and read my content, and we'll catch you next time.